Right, welcome back. From looking at how things work within the confines of the Ministry of Nairobi Metropolitan, we now look at a very important component of government, which is, of course, Kenya Bureau of Standards. Has been in the news for a bit of a while, and now we get to find out more about the institution and the new managing director, who's not new to the confines of clearing and forwarding or issues pertaining to goods coming into the country. The managing director, Mr. Joseph Koske, it's good to have you on the show.
Thanks.
So am I right in saying that you've been in this for a bit?
Yes, indeed. I've been around.
What were you doing before Kenya Bureau of Standards?
Okay, maybe it would be important at this stage just to give you my slight background about myself.
Yes, that would be nice, yes.
I'm 41 years old.
So am I. You see how, you don't even look at it older than 35.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd say the same thing about me, but anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, I'm 41 years old. Graduate of University of Nairobi. I did Bachelor of Commerce, accounting option. After that, being an accountant, of course, I had to go through the professional training.
That's your background,
Yes,
accountant.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a registered certified public accountant, as well as certified public secretary.
Well done.
And of course, after working for some time, I went back to University of Nairobi to pursue an MBA in strategic management. My first employer after university, of course, was Kenya Industrial Estates, where I worked for 1 year, 3 months. After that, I joined Signal Freight. I don't know if you've heard about them.
Signal Freight, yes.
Of course. I worked with them for 3 years.
Yes.
After that, I joined an international company called P&O Netload in a subsidiary called Maritime Services Limited. I joined as an accountant, but within 2 years, I rose to the rank of general manager. And within that group of companies, we had the shipping part, which is a multinational. And during that particular period, they were introducing systems within East Africa. And being the logistics person, I was given the mandate to oversee the change management process within the East African and Indian Ocean Islands region. After that, the company was acquired by Maersk, another multinational shipping line. So I was taken in as manager in charge of logistics in Mombasa within what we call Maersk Logistics. So I worked with them from 2006 up to 2008 when I joined the freight forwarders group in one of their subsidiaries called Allied Wharfage as general manager. And while at that particular company, I also was doing part-time lecturing at the University of Nairobi School of Business.
Well done.
Campus. Yeah.
Well done.
Yes.
So when people say in the papers, I mean, I'm sure you've read this, and people are saying that, that allegedly the minister had to expand his, the scope in terms of people who are coming in to be interviewed for managing director. And they were saying, I mean, why would the minister do that? Does that mean that Koske is not that qualified to be able to head this very important institution? Your thoughts on this?
The pressure created was that I did not even apply for the job, which is far from the truth.
No, they said you did apply. They said you were not
qualified
for it.
Yeah, I went for interviews. Okay. Let me put it this way. How the whole process went to the extent of being appointed and gazetted really is not for me at this particular stage.
I see.
But the fact of the matter is, I was appointed and gazetted as managing director of Kenya Bureau of Standards, and I took up office in that capacity.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Big things happening within the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Talk about the anti-counterfeiting act that took effect in 2010, I think. And what effect does that have on Kenya Bureau of Standards?
Let me put it this way. In that context, that is really not the mandate of Kenya Bureau of Standards. There is an anti-counterfeit agency, an institution that came into being to deal with issues of counterfeit. But on our part, where we deal with mostly is issues of substandard goods.
I see.
Yeah, because what we do as an institution is that we come up with specifications and standards on what we expect when you produce a product or when you import. And our mandate as an institution is that we ensure that goods that come in meet actually those standards or specifications. So we ensure that if we're talking about production within the country, the manufacturer should be able to produce products that comply with the standards. if we are talking about imports coming into the country,
Yes.
again, we have to ensure that those goods comply with the standards of this country.
I see.
Yeah, so what is very critical at this particular stage, I think I need to inform Kenyans is that what we intervene with mostly, particularly for goods coming into the country, are goods that touch on health, safety, and environment, because these have serious impact
Absolutely.
on well-being of Kenyans.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, in terms of then your mandate, in terms of making sure that we are protected as consumers.
Yes.
You know, there's been various issues pertaining to substandard goods coming into the country for many years. We've seen industries fall because of substandard goods. Is this what you have found? And if so, what are you as managing director putting in place to make sure that we are seeing a new frontier in terms of substandard goods that are coming into the country? What is your plan?
Okay, first of all, I think it is important at this particular stage to explain how substandard goods can get into the market. One is that we have business people who want to make quick money. And it's very important to appreciate, because once we get products that are substandard or do not have the KEBS mark of quality, and people ask questions, how did these goods come into the market?
Yes.
And there's always an assumption that perhaps Kenya Bureau of
Come into the
Standards
market and end up in the supermarket.
Yes,
huh?
yes, that's what I want to explain.
Yes.
I want to give you a very good scenario.
Right.
We have a program we call PFOC. Now, in this program, what we try to do is that we want goods inspected where they're coming from at the origin, so that if these goods are found to be substandard, they remain in that country. We don't want substandard goods to get into this market because of the difficulties of having to reship or destroying them. Now, how do substandard goods get into the market? I'll give you a scenario. When these goods are not inspected at the origin, when they reach the port of entry, call it Mombasa, ICD, or any airport, as Kenya Bureau of Standards, we need to open a container and take samples.
Okay.
Now, we pick a sample, take to our laboratories, test it.
You say we need to. So what? You need to what? Do you do that?
We do. That's what I'm saying. We do open the containers, take samples, take to our laboratories, and test them. And the results could show everything is fine. But now let me tell you a scenario. What business people do is they bring goods which are very high quality and maybe put in a container, 20% of a container, very good quality. That's where we sample. The remaining 60% of a container or 70% of a container would be substandard. Now, when I take this sample, I take it through our laboratories and it passes the test. What I do is, as an institution, we give a certificate that these goods have conformed to standards and quality.
At the port of entry?
At the port of entry. But then this person takes these goods, but the truth of the matter is, it's only 20% of the goods in that container that are of quality. Are you getting that scenario?
Yes.
Another scenario is this. Somebody may declare goods, for example, this is rice. And yet it is sugar. And I'll tell you the scenario how that can happen. You may bring a consignment of 20 containers, say to contain rice. There's something in shipping lingo called say to contain. Yeah? And somebody can organize in such a way that of these 20 containers, maybe 2 of them only have rice, and the remaining 18 have sugar. Now, if I come and pick a sample
and you see
from one of the container and you see it's exactly rice, it is possible that you declare and those goods are released as rice, but the truth of the matter could be that those 2 containers are only rice, the others could be sugar.
I get that.
So we have cases where people do misdeclarations. And because of those misdeclarations, goods that are supposed to be subjected to inspection regime may be left out, because not all goods that come in are supposed to be inspected. The other way that substandard goods can get into the market is somebody brings in, say, batteries, for example. We are supposed to subject all batteries to inspection in this country. But if those goods are declared for transit into any of the neighboring countries, we have no mandate.
I get that, Bonakoske. I get that. I get that in terms of how goods can come in.
Yes.
Tell me how then, as the new managing director for KEBS, you have decided then to counter attack. You know, should businessmen or businessmen who deal illegally in terms of substandard or counterfeit goods for that matter.
Yeah.
How then do you make sure that even if they end up in the shelves where consumers can go and pick them, that you still are able to stop them from, from being bought by consumers, and as you said, this, in terms of health, in terms of quality standards, then you're able to stop them. I haven't seen a scenario. Maybe you can explain that to me in terms of when, yes, you are able to meet them at the port of entry.
Yeah.
And if they do get into the market, you are able to also stop them from there. Do you have a new strategy for that?
Okay. One thing is that I want to mention to you
yes.
that we've actually put a lot of goods under inspection regime as we speak. And I can give you later on statistics to prove that.
Give me statistics.
The evidence
Give
to
me
show,
yes.
the evidence to show that right now we're putting every good that is supposed to be subjected to inspection under that inspection regime. And this can be looked at if, for example, you see, everything that we inspect locally, we are supposed to charge an inspection fee. And maybe at some stage, I'll give you statistics in terms of how revenue has grown. Not because that is our mandate, no. It is just because it's a consequence of putting goods under inspection regime. Okay, one, we are conscious about cost of doing business.
Yes.
And therefore, as a result of that, what we've done as an institution is that goods that come in and have not been inspected, if somebody can be able to show us a warehouse within their premises, we can allow these goods to go into their warehouse. We lock the container using our own padlocks. We take those goods, offload it into the warehouse of the importer, and we lock using our own padlock. We take samples, take to our laboratories. If those goods fail, we order destruction or reshipment. And I want to give you an example. Just the other day, we had a consignment of 1,200 cartons of pencils. These goods went into the warehouses of the importer. We took samples to our laboratories, and they failed. And we insisted that there are two options. One, we must destroy those goods,
yes,
or you ship them to origin. After a lot of haggling and looking at which is the best option, the owner opted to reship the goods back to China. So we've done that. We've had tissue papers coming in from Tanzania. They are substandard. Through the mechanism we put in place in our surveillance system, we've been able to get them. You must have been reading in the papers, even appearing in the media, even in Citizen one day. We've destroyed them. So we've destroyed goods in Northeastern, we destroyed goods in Nakuru, we destroyed goods in Isapanya just the other day.
Well done.
So this is something that we've actually announced that we're very serious about this. But more than that, you see, when we talk about market surveillance, our staff force at Kenya Bureau of Standards, the whole is 840. And we are supposed to man and do market surveillance in all outlets within the country.